A.R.T. by Charity Talla. Copyright 2025. All rights reserved. No part of this book may be reproduced in any form by any electronic or mechanical means, including information storage and retrieval systems, except in the case of brief quotations embodied in critical articles or reviews, without permission in writing from its publisher, Literary Landmarks Publishing Company. The characters and events portrayed in this book are fictitious or are used fictitiously. Any similarity to real persons, living or dead, is purely coincidental and not intended by the author. All brand names and product names used in this book are trademarks, registered trademarks, or trade names of their respective holders. Generational Alliances, FT, is not associated with any product or vendor in this book.
Bravery is not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. Nelson Mandela. For I have not given you a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. 2 Timothy 1:7. Author's note. Content warning. A.R.T. tells the story of two young adults who find strength in each other as they confront the challenges of familial loss, suicidal thoughts, and trauma experienced during adolescence. These themes are explored in various chapters throughout the book and may trigger difficult emotions, so readers are advised to proceed with caution. Thank you for reading, and please remember that you are not alone. Support and help is always available for those in need. One love, one God. Prologue.
The afternoon sun beamed defiantly against Anora's melanin-pigmented skin, causing a not-so-subtle sensation to prickle up and down her exposed limbs and unshielded face. Nonetheless, she remained there, lids closed and chin tilted toward the radiant sun, hoping to soak up every ounce of independence she had now obtained. Her fairly cushioned bottom and sore legs protested after their first road trip, while a deep breath synchronized her rising and falling shoulders, drifting her thoughts into serenity. But the relentless honking and unexcused shoulder bumping quickly vanquished the serenity in question. The stalling traffic and scowling faces behind the steering wheels made it clear that she's no longer in the highlands of North Carolina. Finding beauty in such a perpetual state is neither hard nor easy, but the conspicuous fluttering beneath her breastbone made her feel alone in a new city. However, Anora had pledged long ago to never again fall victim to the things she can't control, and to guard what matters most, relinquishing anything holding her back. 20 or so paces away stands a young gentleman dressed in an all-black hooded sweatshirt with matching sweatpants, cursing the cloudless day. With a fireless sigh, Arthur shields his sight with titanium eyewear. He would have paid the weatherman himself to transform the season to the burnt orange and withered browns of autumn leaves, than endure the blooming of delicate flowers of the current season. His early alarm for 6 a.m. should have been his first excuse to not take the job. However, he couldn't ignore that Carl was doing him a solid, so the least he could do is show up and get the details of what he signed up for.
How could I forget how much I hate coming to this awful city?
Arthur grumbles. The endless ruckus of horns and mindless souls, eager to get to their destinations, at the expense of others' sanity, should be the closing statement for why he should run back to the suburbs of Chicago. But no, he let an old friend paint an impeccable image of a life he's been hiding from for far too long, and the subsequent solitude left him in a sea of unsolved bitterness, birthing a career he wouldn't have entertained in a million years. Arthur's sour mood stalls as he catches sight of something so photogenic, he fears blinking will make the image disappear. It's not her untamed curls or the blue hues, slightly fading due to extensive sun exposure, that capture his brooding gaze. No, it's the calmness reflecting off her rich complexion as she faces the blinding sky, eyes closed. He imagined one would have to be in a serene state of mind to find beauty within so much chaos, which he once indulged in for inspiration when he was once young and naive. Still, his brows pressed together, envying such a sight. For a moment, Anora's eyes rest on the mysterious young man standing in the afternoon heat wearing unorthodox attire. She squints, but the fluorescent sun restricts most of her vision. A wisp of magic. No. More like destiny placed them at this moment. A moment that will forever be stamped in time. But it appears destiny has no contingencies as they proceed their separate paths, ignoring the pull of curiosity tugging beneath the sole of their feet, encouraging them to go against everything they vowed less than 24 hours ago. No distractions. Little did they know, distractions will be their cancer and their lifeline.
Year 1, independence. Independence goes beyond simply being physically detached from someone. It also encompasses mental autonomy. The ability to make decisions, along with the commitment or lack thereof to those choices, rests entirely with the individual. Chapter 1. With one busted rolling suitcase, a shoulder-pressing duffel bag, and 3 keys dangling in hand, I make my way up to the 3rd floor from the surprisingly vacant underground parking garage. With little to no spaces near the entrance, I expected to see others moving in. Havoc. This would be a suitable word to describe what's taking place outside the comfort of the sole occupied elevator I have to depart from. If it wasn't for the Welcome to College Hill Apartments banner posted a few inches above eyes level, stretching from one wall to the next, I would have thought I had stepped into a frat house. A diverse group of let's just hang out in the hallway and block all who dared to pass conversed just steps from the elevator. Rude. Then there was Kiki and Shaniqua, loud talking and laughing with open mouths and clenching stomachs across the hallway. Okay, those are probably not their names, but I know my left eye and bottom lip didn't appreciate receiving a shower as I struggled to pass by, so I can care less about their birth names. One of them should have had the decency to go to the other side of the hall. Rude. After the 9th unheard, "Excuse me," I gave up on saying anything altogether. Today is move-in day for freshmen, but the crowded halls were being used for incoherent chatter and tasteless styles of ethnic pop and rock music. I couldn't reach my apartment door fast enough, flopping back first onto the stiff, brown faux leather sofa. My eyelids fall shut, taking in a chest-deep inhale and staggered slow exhale. But my moment of peace starts to disintegrate when reality settles in. I have to go back out there. Acknowledging the flaring of arms and kicking of legs is the least of my worries as I hiss with annoyance, throwing my body against the cold, stiff sorry excuse for a sofa. Having to take several trips to my car wouldn't be too much of a hassle. I can always leave the non-essential items for tomorrow, but knowing I must tread back and forth through the jungle, aka Havoc hallway, will be my undoing. I might as well throw in the towel, call my parents, tell them I tried but failed, as an independent college student, taken out within the first hour by hallway trauma disease. My headstone will read, pathetic. I was on my 3rd trip back to my room when I noticed a complimentary luggage cart next to the elevator. Thank God. A grateful sigh relaxes my overworked shoulders as I place the items in hand on the cart before pulling it back to my car. Come on, do your job, you useless, piece of metal. Bones already in anguish, I press my right shoulder firmly against the chrome bar, failing to get the cart to move forward. Move, I demand with a grunt. Please move. Did it move? Nope. Did that observation deter me from saying those words again? Not one cot-picking bit. It is indeed pointless, but I repeat the request as the tip of my feet press firmly against the gray concrete flooring, barely turning the wheels on the overpacked cart. My 5 feet 7 inches, on a good day, 126 pounds. On a missed meal day, body is made up of gently used muscles. It was destined to fail from the start, and I swear, the stupid cart laughed at me. Or was it a bystander? They could have at least asked if I needed help, not that it would take a genius to see I most definitely do. Could this day get any worse?
Need a hand.
It was only 3 words, but they were music to my ears. Relief along the upper palm of my hands, and a light of redemption as I say a silent thank you to the big man upstairs.
You look like you could use some help,
says the kind stranger, words heavy in the awe sound. The young man, I conclude, because his aura spews, I am not a boy, sports a wave-brushed haircut and thin, black-framed sunglasses that hid his eyes until he raised them, displaying the most innocent pair of dark brown orbs. Oh, Suddenly my brain is on standby when his advancement engulfs a respectable amount of space between us. My sight, completely working on its own accord, shifts to the proceed with caution zone as they settle on his full lips when he says,
I'm friendly people. Promise.
Fingers raised in surrender, I flash a schoolgirl smile. I'm okay. Why am I shouting? Maybe the unaccompanied traveling through the off-road safari halls has finally gotten to me. Or is it the fatigue from driving long hours across the states to now spending too much time unloading my belongings to my apartment? Whatever the case, he'll probably rethink his offer now. I should have one of those bubbles above my head that says, proceed with caution, sanity at risk. Yes, that would be great, I managed to say. If you're not busy.
No, not at all. I wouldn't have asked if I were, so.
His shoulders rise and fall, as if it wouldn't matter if I wanted his help or not. Still, it didn't hinder his smile from showing his pearly whites. As we wait in the elevator, my eyes explore. His style is just as chilled as his demeanor, with his white V-neck stretching over the top half of his body. His body! Boy, do I wish I could show and not tell. But let's just say his triceps and biceps were highly defined. My eyes then zoomed to what looked like an extremely expensive and heavy camera strapped across his chest. Was that there this whole time? Resuming my, not weird at all, staring, his dark blue jeans, ripped near the kneecaps, and high-top white Nike shoes completed his ensemble. The ding, followed by the elevator doors opening, pulled me out of my head and once again to my chaotic reality. I groan. But with him pulling and me somewhat pushing, we maneuver like melted butter through the hallway. After placing the large items where I directed, he offered to get the remaining items from my car. What would have probably taken me the whole day only took 30 minutes of his time.
Here's the last of it. Where do you want it?
He asks, sweat droplets forming on his forehead, evidence of his hard work paying off. You can place it in the kitchen, thanks. With a nod, he places the 2 medium-sized containers on the counter, leaning on it afterward.
Man, you have a lot of stuff. You must be from out of state.
It's that obvious? He shrugs.
Most locals bring what they can carry.
My mouth forms an understanding, and he releases an airy chuckle.
So, I take it you're moving here for good?
He continues. That's the dream, but definitely for the next 4 years. I already signed the lease for it. I say, quirking my nose and perking my lips.
Cool. Well, I'm Darian. I'm 2 floors up and in apartment 522.
Right. I'm Anora, and I stay, here. Apartment 311. My cheeks are stretching as I shake his extended hand.
Anora? Pretty.
Thanks. My eyes wander from his gaze to the numerous imprints mapping my carpet. There's something slightly intimidating in the way he looks at me, so I attempt to keep myself occupied by filling the silence with more conversation. And thanks for all your help. You saved me from hours of exhaustion.
It was my pleasure.
His smile is as forthcoming as his stare, and my pulse dares me to swoon. I will not. So, are you a freshman as well? Asking the first thing that popped into my head, and taking random things out of the nearest box.
No.
He said sarcastically.
I'm a sophomore. Do I look like a freshman?
No, I say with little confidence. It must be my nerves, and the fact that I'm alone in my apartment with a very attractive young boy man staring at me. Jeez. I just got here and I'm already breaking one of my rules. No unaccompanied attractive boys in the apartment. Shaking my head, I place a candle and a few magazines on the living room coffee table.
It's cool. Most people assume I'm young. But you're not entirely inaccurate. I won't be 19 until next spring. So technically, I should be a freshman, not a sophomore.
He winks, a charming smile spreading on his cute face. How did you manage to get ahead?
I scored a few AP classes. my junior and senior years in high school. Then I took some college courses for 2 summers straight. They were mostly core classes, though.
So you've been going to school year-round for the past 2 years?
Pretty much.
He shrugs. I wish I would have thought of that, I mostly state to myself, because in reality, I didn't have the freedom to only concentrate on school. It would have been nearly impossible to balance work and class, but the money I saved from those 2 jobs over the summer will finance me for 2 calendar years. Still, I need to find something part-time in the next couple of months to keep the cash flowing. New York is known for its high cost of living, and I don't want to be careless and run out without a plan.
So, you're a freshman?
He states, pulling me out of my thoughts. Do I look like a freshman?
Yes.
Oh, wow. There was literally no hesitation in your response. Darian laughs. What gave me away?
You did.
He says knowingly. I quirk a brow.
When you first asked me, you said, "Are you a freshman as well?"
My mouth forms an O before it settles into a side smile. Aren't you the observant one? Darian laughs again.
Is that a bad thing?
No, I suppose it's not, I say with an airy chuckle.
Do you have a boyfriend?
What? I could have choked on air. As a matter of fact, I think I did. I don't, but are all college boys this direct?
Sorry, didn't mean to be. I have a habit of saying what's on my mind. A work in progress.
It's fine. I do it sometimes as well. Besides, a quiet soul leaves no imprint. A quiet soul? What am I saying? As expected, Darian is looking at me quizzically. Great. He's probably questioning my sanity. Again. Theoretically speaking, I start only to feel stupid once again as my words sinks in because one's soul lives within. Unless I shy from his stare. Sorry. Darian is, well, he's probably concluded that he just helped a crazy person. Kind of got lost in my thoughts there, I confess, hoping to soften the weirdness taking over this once friendly conversation.
It's cool. My thoughts sometimes get the best of me as well.
He says with a closed lip smile. I smile back before resuming unpacking.
What's your major?
Oh, it's fine arts and business management. I want to run my own art studio one day and house local and international upcoming artists. Good job, Anora. Straight to the point, with no added weirdness.
That's really cool. I'll have to introduce you to my cousin, Ronnie. She's a fine arts major, too. I'm double majoring in graphic design and photography.
He continues. That's, ambitious.
True, but I'm extremely ambitious, especially for the things I want.
A cocky but confident smile stretches across his face as he stalks toward me with heavy-lidded eyes. Nope. No. Well, twiddling my fingers, I look everywhere and nowhere as my thoughts run blank under his gaze. I settle for unpacking more items out of the open box in front of me.
Do you have any plans today? Say, around 9 p.m.?
Not exactly. Just a lot of unpacking to do. I smile, placing a few random items I will most definitely remove once he's gone on the TV stand.
Well,
he pulls a pen out of his back pocket. Wait, was that there this entire time?
If you want to take a break from unpacking, give me a call.
He writes his number on top of the cardboard box next to him.
Room 522. A few of my friends are coming over to hang out. Ronnie will be there.
He adds. Oh, okay. Smiling, I head toward the kitchen to unpack another box.
All right then. I'll leave you to your unpacking.
His sincere smile doesn't cease as we both walk toward the front door. Thank you again for all your help. Let me know what I can do to repay your kindness.
It was nothing. But if you're honest about repaying, come over tonight.
His eyes waver over my stance, and he bites part of his bottom lip while resting an arm. I snort. That was slick. Smile widening, he raises both hands.
Hey, you asked.
We exchange a blush-worthy glance as he stuffs his hands in his pockets.
So, I'll see you tonight.
My lips twist into an uncontained smirk. I'll think about it, I say, leaning on the door as I keep it ajar with my foot.
It was a pleasure to meet you, Anora.
Cheeks tightening from my relentless smile, I respond, You too, Darian. Closing the door, I rest my back against it, no longer hiding the giddy smile I'm certain was there the whole time. Staying clear of distractions is going to be harder than I thought. By 5 p.m., I was a sweaty, musty mess, but fully settled in. 30 minutes later, a ring at my door indicated my Panda Express order, delivered by Uber Eats, had arrived, and at the perfect time since I had just finished showering, eating takeout, and rewatching the first season of One Tree Hill, for the third time in the past 6 months, was the perfect way to end an unconventional day. Then my phone rang. "Hi, Mom,"
Hi, sweetie. Your dad is here too.
Hi, honey.
says Dad. "Hi, Dad." My smile spread across my face, even though it will not be seen.
Have you settled in since we last spoke?
Mom is quick to ask. We literally just talked 2 hours ago, so this call is so unnecessary. Yes, Mom, finished around 5. Now I'm eating dinner from Panda Express. I muffle through a mouthful of fried rice.
I thought you were going to prepare dinner. Did you not get a chance to go grocery shopping?
Sighing, I say, "Didn't have enough time. I will go in the morning."
Okay, dear. I just don't want you wasting money on takeout when you have a full kitchen in your apartment.
Here she goes. I put the phone on speaker.
I thought this was the reason you spent an extra $5,000 to stay in those particular college apartments instead of the standard dorms, which I still think is the best thing to do during your freshman year.
Mom? Pausing the TV, I close my eyes and begin massaging my temples, which have rapidly tensed.
There's no telling what kind of people you're living with, and the building is co-ed. It's like they want you to make bad decisions.
Mom, I remember when I first told them that bit of information, you would have thought I told my mom that I was going to live in a brothel by the way she went on about why college boys and girls should never share living facilities. "Too many temptations," she said. Well, hate to break it to you, Mom, but I'm sure living in separate buildings is not a factor.
I don't want my little girl getting stalked by some no-good weed-smoking...
Mom!
Sweetie, you don't have to scream.
Jesus, help. Pinching the bridge of my nose, I take a few inhales and exhales before saying, "There's security, and late-night guests have to sign in and be ID'd before they can enter." "Weed smoking? Where did you get that idea from?"
Well,
she starts, and don't answer that. I was not up for listening to another rant. A headache is emerging, and my food is getting cold. "Mom, I have to go."
already?
Her tone is unexpectedly sad.
Martha,
Dad chimes in, and I'm eternally grateful.
say goodbye to our daughter. You can call her tomorrow.
Okay, sweetie. Call me the moment you wake up.
Okay, I will. Absolutely not, thinking the latter. "Love you both,"
Bye, sweetie.
they say in unison as the line ends. Ugh. My sigh meets the ceiling as I plop deeper into the couch. That was too much. I don't know what it is, but I am always left with a massive migraine after talking to my parents, my mom in particular. It's after 9 p.m. when I decide to give myself a rest from Lucas's unspoken obsession with Peyton, who, by the way, constantly gives him the cold shoulder for no respectable reason. But the poor guy never learns, and apparently neither do I as I keep watching, hoping to finally understand why he liked her in the first place. Not yet ready for bed, I stare at the number and name written on the now broken down box leaning against the wall next to the front door, contemplating accepting his invitation.
We're not tired, so why not?
One of my thoughts, spontaneous, joins in, persuading me to sit up and keep me in the now, whatever that is.
But we'll be leaving the comfort of this warm, cozy throw blanket.
That's lazy, and well, she's lazy and conservative. Lazy wins yet again, so I rest my head back on the pillow, snuggling farther into my warm, cozy throw blanket.
Hey, our room is only like a few steps away. Don't be a couch potato.
The room is... Wait, I'm not a couch potato. Okay, I'll get up.
No, wait. We'll have to change and leave our apartment. And we said no distractions, remember?
That's a valid point, Lazy. We did say that.
It's only like 2 floors up. Besides, one night out is not considered a distraction, and we could potentially meet some long-term friends. We're new to New York. It would be wise to at least know one person. Am I right?
Valid point, Spontaneous. Okay, I'll go, but if we start to get uncomfortable, we're out. Agreed, agreed, agreed. Did I seriously just answer myself twice? Chapter 2. Here goes nothing. I mutter under my breath as I knock twice on the door.
It's probably the food. Grab some plates from the cabinets.
A male voice projects from the other side of the door. His bright smile caught my eye first, cheekbones rising higher than normal when he realized it's me instead of the food carrier. Then it was his eyes. A sincere happiness gleaming over his dark brown orbs as the outer creases deepened. Lastly, it was his smell. A mixture of some kind of cologne body spray and linen body wash.
You came.
My lips stretch into a smile of their own as Darian stands in awe. Rocking on my heel, I simply reply, "Are you surprised?"
Well, yeah.
He says with a soft chuckle.
I didn't think you would get through all that unpacking in one day. Unless...
No, I got it all done. We stand quietly for a few beats, me outside his apartment, him inside. So, are you going to invite me in?
Right.
He laughs, opening the door wider for me to pass through. Upon entry, his apartment appears twice my size. There's a coat closet a few steps to the left of the front door, followed by more wall space on both sides before entering the open concept area. The flooring is tan plank hardwood, complemented with white tiles in the kitchen, stainless steel appliances, and 3 bar stools under the kitchen island, one of which is occupied by a girl with straight, shoulder-length hair who attract my attention. She looks like the lead singer of a punk band. Her hair color is quite unnatural, but the pastel pink complements her light caramel skin. Her cheeky round face is perfectly powdered, her round button nose sport a tiny silver loop ring, and her oval eyes and perfectly manicured brows display another silver ring on the outer left side.
"'Cause I thought you were coming back with food, not another human being, even though she's kind of cute."
She winks, settling her petite face in her palms with a toothy smile. When she hops off her seat, her height shortens tremendously. She couldn't be taller than 5'2" at best, even with the black military boots on. Her footwear, noticeably stylish, set the tone for her ensemble. Thigh-length black leather skirt, metal belt, pink netted stockings, and a skin-hugging dark pink crop top, showing a small amount of her barely noticeable tummy, topped off her gothic punk look. Darian signals a hand in her direction.
This is...
"I'm Veronica, but everyone calls me Ronnie."
She says, stretching out a hand of her own. "Nice to meet you, Ronnie. My name is Anora, and everyone calls me Anora." Ronnie smiles, making a pointed look after releasing my hand.
"Anora, you live 2 floors down, right?"
I nod.
"Darian told me you're an art major. Do you have your schedule yet?"
Yes, I'm in Mrs. Roman's 11 a.m. art class. Heard of her?
"Yup. I took her class last year. You're a freshman, right?"
I nod again.
"Makes sense. I think every freshman has to take her class as an introductory to art at the college. But her class is ridiculously easy. Just basic art history stuff."
She says with a shrug.
"Come on."
Wrapping one of her arms around mine, she pulls me toward the main area.
"I'll introduce you to the rest of the clan."
I steal a look at Darian, who is now wearing an apologetic smirk, shaking his head as he follows.
So, starting from the far end, there's Lisa. She's a sophomore art history major.
"Hi."
Lisa waves. Her voice is as unenergetic as her expression. She has neck-length blonde hair and bright blue eyes that pierce against her pale skin, rosy cheeks, heavy black eyeliner, and distinctive attire. She too is sporting a gothic punk outfit, loose black pants with several pockets and belts running across each leg, and a hooded red and black checkerboard crop top.
"Trevor,"
Ronnie says, grabbing my attention toward the next person she's introducing.
"is a junior photography major."
Trevor gestures a hello with his chin, focusing more on his phone screen than what's happening around him. His tucked-in baby blue collar shirt and khaki pants stands out like an opera singer performing at a rock concert. Interesting. His complexion is just as brown as mine, blending in with his now pressed lips and furrowed, thick brows leading up to his low-cut curly hair, which is just as dark as mine, but with blonde tips. Interesting.
"And the junkie over there."
My laughter spits as Ronnie's uninterested expression signaled toward the guy smoking near an open window.
"He's a loser."
She sighs.
"You don't need to know him."
Rolling her eyes, she flops onto the couch, bringing me down as well since our arms are still intertwined.
"Wow, Veronica, that hurt,"
says the quote-unquote loser, placing a hand over his chest as he draws in another puff. He then releases the toxic fumes out the open window before standing. Stalking to where we're sitting, he eyes Ronnie with a sly grin.
Veronica is being modest.
Ronnie scoffs, eyes in a rolling motion.
I'm Jacob, second-year graphic design major, and I'm the coolest person in this joint.
He winks, hand outstretching with a toothy smile. Jacob is, in fact, too attractive for his own good. Dark, wavy locks draping perfectly over his forehead and partly down his neck accented his beach-tanned skin and bright amber eyes. An all-black ensemble, tatted arms, and lip ring complement his overall bad boy look. I will never admit this to Ronnie, but he has a vibe, and it's kinda cool. Ronnie swats his hand.
Don't touch her. You'll contaminate my new friend with your cooties.
Jacob appears amused, staring at Ronnie for a few longing seconds, gliding his tongue over his lips and playing with the silver item attached to his tongue. My skin runs cold just thinking about the pain that comes with unconventional piercings. Ronnie, apparently unfazed by Jacob's seduction, remains annoyed until a small twitch begins to tug at one corner of her lips.
Go back to your window, weirdo.
She says in a more playful manner.
Your marijuana stench is overlapping our clean air.
She adds, waving a hand in front of her face.
As you wish.
His eyes first rake over Ronnie's before settling on me.
It's nice to meet you.
I smile, saying, You too. A knock at the door steals Darian away, and a few seconds later he returns with 4 boxes of pizza and a bag of sodas. For the next hour or so, we eat and talk. Well, more like they talked while I nibbled, still full of my earlier dinner. Darian is doing everything a host should do to make their guests feel taken care of, like making me a plate of food, even though I told him I wasn't hungry. He also refilled my cup of strawberry Fanta when he noticed it getting low. Now that I'm thinking about it, my cup never made it less than half full.
All right, you guys, since we have a newcomer, I think it's only fitting we play dirty laundry.
Lisa announces, grabbing a bottle of liquor and hot sauce off the table.
Oh, heck no. The last time we played that game, I woke up with my nipples pierced.
Jacob spat, and I must say it made me a little apprehensive about the game.
Dude, you were so messed up,
says Trevor, looking up from his phone. This was the most active I've seen him in conversation since arriving.
Oh my God, he was,
Lisa said, laughing.
We could have made you do anything. Getting your nipples pierced was the less painful option.
Darian and I head toward the living area, trailing Ronnie and Jacob. Lisa and Trevor are already sitting on the floor with a jar full of folded papers, a bottle of liquor, hot sauce, and a bandana stationed before them. Should I be worried? I whisper.
Depends.
Darian's brows lift together with his crooked smile as he adds,
Do you have something to hide?
I take a nervous swallow, pondering, doesn't everyone? Jacob taps Trevor's shoulder, and he scoots over. A satisfied smirk grazes Jacob's lips as he sits down, staring at Ronnie with a pleasing grin. Ronnie shakes her head.
Right here, Anora.
Ronnie pats the spot next to her, and I sit down, crossing my legs. We form a circle. Trevor sitting across from Lisa, Jacob sitting across from Ronnie, and Darian sitting across from me. I sit quietly, unlike the circus commencing inside my chest, anticipating the terms of the game.
Okay,
Lisa chimes, palming her hands.
Since Anora is new, let's do a test run.
She lays the hot sauce bottle down and spins it. The bottle's end lands on her and Trevor. With a squeal, she pulls a folded paper from the jar, and Trevor does the same. Without the squealing, of course.
So, you need to read what the paper says out loud.
She explains, opening her paper.
Ooh, this is a good one. It says, tell 2 truths and 1 lie. The person who guesses the correct lie controls your dare for the next round.
She finishes reading with a grin.
So, you can either choose to do what it says or spend 15 minutes in the closet with the person of your choice, doing whatever they say. Simple, right?
Sounds simple. Are the questions like, say, truth or dare? I ask. She shrugs.
You can say that.
Shrugs. The action for expressing doubt or indifference. So not helpful.
Still want to play?
My conservative side is screaming, sit this one out and observe. But a small part of me wants to stop contemplating every little thing that can go wrong and just live a little. What's the worst that can happen? Giving her 2 thumbs up, I reply, I'm in. We are 3 challenges into the game, and I've only been challenged to reveal how old I was when I shared my first kiss. However, Darian was challenged to leave his shirt off for the rest of the game or run around outside with no pants on. He chose to take his shirt off, which, by the way, is, let's just say what little of his physique I imagined earlier in the elevator was child's play. From the last round, Lisa had to remove a layer of clothing, which she did without hesitation, and Trevor kindly shared his deepest fantasy, which I dare not repeat. I'm still trying to get those images removed from my long-term memory. Now, the bottle has landed on Jacob and Ronnie. Again, I swear. Those two have a weird love and hate relationship. One moment they are laughing, and the next, Ronnie's stare alone could kill him. Jacob opens his paper first, glancing up at Ronnie a few times in between reading.
It says, have you had sex in the last 7 days?
Ronnie cackles, cocking her head back.
Well, we all know that's a no,
she says, continuing to cackle. Unsmiling, Jacob says,
Yes, yesterday.
He tossed the now balled-up paper to the floor. Ronnie's playful smile ceases, replaced by a straight line and sharp eyes to match.
With whom?
Jacob leans back on the support of his open palms.
Not you,
he says with the same bite she threw at him. Huffing, Ronnie stands, taking a few paces from the circle before looking back.
Why are you still sitting?
Not even armor can shield Jacob from the daggers Ronnie is projecting, but he remains unmoved, peering back at her with equally challenging eyes.
Sit down, Veronica. You're embarrassing yourself,
he says instead, tightening his fists.
Jacob Rashad Hamilton III. Get up, now.
Peeking at Lisa and Trevor, they both have their sight elsewhere, but Trevor is stifling a laugh while Lisa looks just as upset as Ronnie. I glance over at Darian, who's shaking his head. When his eyes meet mine, he gives me a "I'm sorry" look. I don't know whether to stay seated or take my leave. The whole situation is becoming a bit awkward. Swearing, Jacob stands, mumbling incoherently as he walks toward Ronnie, heading to the closet. When the door closes, the arguing commences, growing louder with Ronnie's voice being heard over Jacob's.
Ronnie is eating him alive.
Trevor sputters in between laughter.
Serves him right.
Lisa nods.
I'm grabbing more pizza. Anybody want some?
I'll take 2.
Says Trevor. Darian takes a seat next to me.
You okay?
Yeah, I say, facing him. Can't say the same for Ronnie. Are they, like, together or something? Darian takes a deep breath, looking in the direction they went, exhaling as he looks back at me.
They dated last year. Ronnie was in it pretty deep. But Jacob...
He pauses, almost annoyed at the thought.
Let's just say Jacob wasn't.
Oh. The lonesome word slips between my parting lips just as my heart feels heavy for Ronnie. Poor Ronnie.
No. Don't feel sorry for her. Her misery is her own fault now.
Darian's expression presses inward, causing his jaw to flex in and out. I almost said something. A few moments later, the closet door opens. Everyone is silent as our eyes follow the two composed figures all the way to their designated seats. Ronnie sits down without a word or any indication of what could have happened behind the closed door. The same goes for Jacob. He remains silent, shoulders tensed, only running his fingers through his hair occasionally as he sneaks glances at Ronnie, who refuses to acknowledge him.
You guys good?
Lisa asks, and all eyes shift between the two elephants in the room. Ronnie shrugs.
It's whatever. I'm good.
Jacob nods, eyes still trained on Ronnie. After a few beats, her eyes finally meet his, her closed lips quirking upward as Jacob's shoulders relax. I don't get these two.
Okay, Anora?
My eyes peered away from the two curious subjects to Lisa looking at me and waiting.
It's your turn.
Darian replies instead. Oh. Releasing a nervous chuckle, I lift one of my knees to grab the bottle and flick my wrist to spin it. Everyone watches intensely as the bottle speed starts to slow to a stop. You would have thought this was a life and death situation by how still everyone became. Maybe they are all wishing for the same thing as me, for it not to land on Ronnie and Jacob. Everyone audibly sighed in relief when the bottle's nose pointed to Darian and me. Well, much relief to the others, but not so much for me. Unfolding the piece of paper, I read over it first before saying, "Oh gosh, it says to take 2 shots." Lisa and Ronnie cheered too excitedly for my liking, but it did help loosen the tension in the atmosphere. Lisa hands 2 shot glasses to Ronnie, who fills them to the brim.
Here you are.
Ronnie says, grinning from ear to ear. I give her the fakest thank you smile I can muster as I take the shot glass. I hate you guys. They all laugh at my words, encouraging me to drink all of it. Pinching my nose, I release the clear liquid into my mouth. Horrid. I silently pray for my useless taste buds, which have now been forever deprived of experiencing anything with flavor. I hold my breath, dispensing the second one while Ronnie and Lisa chant, "Drink! Drink! Drink!" The taste is 10 times worse. Like, how? Who would voluntarily drink this? It serves no satisfying purpose and is utterly disgusting. And the burning, again, who would voluntarily drink this? I silently say another prayer, this time for my esophagus, which is literally shot with no chance of recovery. I had to summon all my strength to keep from gagging after I swallowed. I coughed so intensely that I had to stick out my tongue to focus, sacrificing the delightful taste of my soda to counteract the contradiction of what I just tasted offered little relief and was detrimental enough for me to vow never to do that again. The others laugh as Ronnie pats me on the back when the coughing continues. Why would anyone drink that? My voice is unrecognizable to my own ears.
It's a drink for the strong and wise youngling, not the weak.
Jacob cackles. I shoot him the middle finger, grabbing the poisonous bottle and chugging it in spontaneous determination, literally going against what I just promised myself only seconds ago. There go my brain cells. With my conservative side refusing to acknowledge my existence, spontaneous fist pumps the priceless reaction on Jacob's agape face. Nonetheless, the fire running down my throat and to my chest is another level of stupidity I'm unable to overlook. Still, I slam the bottle down, doing everything humanly possible not to cough as I taunt, "You were saying..." Jacob's hands raise in defeat.
Okay, I stand corrected.
That'll teach you not to underestimate my girl.
Ronnie chimes, placing an arm around my shoulder. I smile, but no satisfaction follows. I never fell victim to peer pressure, but after knowing how Jacob treated Ronnie, I wanted to prove him wrong. Still, it will be added to my growing list of not one of my wisest moments, and I'll probably have to deal with the consequences of too much alcohol, but that's for future Anora to worry about. Present Anora is going to relish her brief independence. Catching sight of Darien, he looks a little worried, so I resurface a smile. His isn't as forthcoming, but one grazes his lips as he continues to hold my gaze.
Whatever.
Jacob scuffs.
Darien, what you got?
Shifting his longing gaze, Darien opens his paper, brows swiftly shifting inward.
Nope.
Is all he says before standing in a rush and stalking through the circle.
Dude, what did you get?
Trevor picks up the fallen paper.
French kiss the person on your... You ain't kissing me.
Trevor shouts, releasing his hold on the paper and kicking it farther from his space.
I know that, you idiot.
Spits Darien as he looks at Trevor.
Come with me.
He says to me before stretching a hand. Chapter 3.
Well, this is...
Darien begins. Irresponsible, ill-considered, utterly foolish. Why on earth am I alone in a dark, completely inappropriate closet with a boy I just met? Unnerving. I exhale, doubting my ability to make smart decisions.
Unnerving?
He echoes just before the light flickers on. I squint at the sudden brightness.
Huh? I was going to say, nice.
Darien finishes, letting go of the light switch. Nice, I respond.
Yeah.
He steps closer.
I finally have you all to myself.
I take a step back, murmuring a soft, "Oh." He chuckles, and I glance from his bare chest to his lowered gaze, which shifts to a smirk as his laughter fades. Relax, I tell my racing heart as he moves nearer. Wait, it wasn't my intention, but my palms rest against his chest for just a beat too long. When I pull them away too abruptly, I sway forward slightly.
Hey, you okay?
Huh? Oh. I take a deep breath and let my hands fall to my sides. I'm fine, I think. I'm fine. I fan a hand over my face, absorbing my surroundings. This closet, with its 3 plain white walls and a door, is completely empty. I'm not sure what being in the closet entails, but you're not expecting me to... I glance down, then back up. Darien raises his brows, nearly reaching his hairline after my second glance downward.
Oh no, I'm not expecting anything like that.
He steps back, then his smile returns.
Unless you want to.
What? No! I blurt, mortified but unable to hide my smile.
No?
No! I laugh, shaking my head. The playful banter leaves me feeling giddy. Darian closes the distance between us, and the thudding in my chest intensifies as I exhale shakily.
Am I making you nervous?
His voice dips dangerously low, but the way his fingers brush my cheek is more perilous. I shiver despite the warmth creeping up my skin. I should say yes, but Miss Spontaneous takes charge as I reply unsteadily. No? His hand shifts from my cheek to the back of my neck, and he gazes deep into my eyes. Sweat trickles from my side, and I remind myself to breathe against the wall pressing behind me.
You say no, but I can see how you're looking at me.
I shut my eyes, trying to concentrate on anything else, what I would be doing if I wasn't here, how I wish I weren't here, not his fingers gliding up my left arm, my breathing, not his palm resting at the nape of my neck, my breathing, not his thumb brushing over my bottom lip. God, why did Mom have to be right?
I want to kiss you,
he declares, tilting my head up gently with his finger, and my eyes spring wide open. Me sweating is undoubtedly embarrassing, yet his words amuse me.
What's funny?
He asks, humor lacing his tone. I can't control my giggles. You think I'm sweet?
Mad. Sweet.
He asserts confidently. I'm left speechless by the desire darkening his brown eyes as he leans in to kiss the side of my neck. I inhale sharply. The warmth of his lips ignites my skin. It's not that I've never been touched by a guy before. I just never enjoyed it. Even now, my past looms over my ability to feel in control.
You seem surprised.
He looks at me intently.
I guess I need to work harder to convince you.
As his fingers tighten around the curls at the back of my neck, a sense of warning emerges within me, but it's already too late. This sensation, my breathing, it's all becoming overwhelming. We just met today, I stammer.
So?
He shrugs, calm and collected. Breathe. So? His puzzled expression mirrors mine as I look back at him. Shouldn't there be some kind of, I don't know, a get-to-know-each-other phase first? Miss Spontaneous has exited, and Miss Conservative is now in charge. I'm a freshman, and wait, do you think I'm easy? Darian retreats slightly, narrowing his eyes, clearly indicating that I've missed the situation.
Come on, don't do me like that,
he says, laughing throatily.
Trust, I'm not like that.
I shrug. If the shoe fits?
Wow, if the shoe fits?
He shifts, burying his hands deep into his pant pockets.
All right, I can be a bit forward, but I know what I like. Trust, once you get to know me, you'll see that I am a respectable guy.
A smile tugs at the corners of his lips, making him look dangerously attractive, and potentially a huge distraction. A respectable guy? I ask softly, meeting his steady gaze as he steps closer.
Yes.
He replies with equal intensity, moving even nearer. This feels risky. He wants more than friendship, but I'm not ready for a relationship right now. I'm not even sure how I'll manage my classes in 2 days. I can't afford any distractions.
I won't be.
Yes, you will, I assert confidently, breaking eye contact. He pulls me closer, placing one hand on my lower back while using the other to tilt my head, so I'm focused only on him.
I won't,
he says earnestly. I want to trust him, so I respond, You won't?
Hey, you two lovebirds. Time's up.
Coming.
Darian replies just inches from my lips. I exhale, feeling the weight of what could have happened dissipate as his grip loosens around my waist.
It looks like you two are having a deep conversation in there.
Someone remarks as we step into the living room.
Shot it, Jacob.
Darian retorts quickly. Jacob chuckles, then takes a long drag from the rolled paper between his lips before releasing a puff of smoke. I wrinkle my nose at the smell.
Didn't I say smoke? That shit. Stuff by the window?
Darian snaps, waving a hand at the lingering haze.
Whatever, man.
Jacob replies, moving towards the window.
Sorry.
Darian says, looking at me.
Let me know if the smell bothers you.
I'm fine, I lie. The stench of smoke, combined with the alcohol I foolishly drank, is giving me a headache. But I should get going.
Already? It's only...
Darian checks his phone.
It's almost 1? Hang on. I'll walk you to your apartment.
You don't have to. I start, but he's already putting on his shirt and walking over to Ronnie.
Hey, I'm heading out with Anora. Be right back.
he tells her. Ronnie approaches.
You're leaving?
Yeah, sorry, I say apologetically. I have a lot of errands to run later today, so I need to get some sleep.
Okay.
She hugs and cheeky smile.
It was great meeting you. I hope we didn't scare you too much.
Not at all. You will definitely see me again. Her smile widens. I say my goodbyes to everyone else before turning to leave with Darian by my side.
You actually unpacked everything.
Darian remarks as we walk into my apartment. I move past him toward the kitchen. Told you, I reply, setting my keys and phone on the counter before grabbing a bottle of water out of the fridge. Want one?
Nah, I'm good.
Sorry, it's all I have, I say, shutting the fridge. Grocery shopping is at the top of my to-do list for later today, but first, sleep. I raise a finger.
Yeah,
He walks over slowly, stopping in front of me in the galley kitchen.
sleep is important.
A sly smile spreads across his face as he grabs my water bottle. Hey, I was drinking that,
Not anymore.
he teases, setting the bottle on the counter behind him. I quirk a brow as he faces me again. Then he lifts me off the ground as if I were weightless, placing me on the counter behind me. Darian, what are you... Within a heartbeat, his lips are on mine as he settles between my legs, tugging me closer to the edge of the counter. Darian, wait, I say, pulling away slightly. We shouldn't. I mean, I can't...
Just
He murmurs against my chest, catching his breath.
let me be your distraction. For a little bit longer. You can tell me to stop if I take it too far.
He raises his head, his eyes darker than usual as he gazes at me.
Okay?
He whispers. Okay, I whisper back, closing my eyes and leaning in to kiss him again. His icy fingers sliding under my shirt serve as my first warning. His lips teasing my neck serve as the second. I know I should stop him, but the idea of feeling something, anything, keeps me from pulling away. Yet, with each connection, my skin crawls. I become increasingly aware of his hands creeping higher up my shirt. And then he unclips my bra. Stop! Darian's eyes widen in surprise as I recoil, just as his back crashes against the fridge.
What the hell? You... Anora?
His voice fades as I shut my eyes and cover my ears. My entire body trembles like an avalanche poised to destroy everything in its path. I place my palms on the counter, taking deep breaths and slow exhales, but nausea settles in. I can't tell if it's the memories returning or the alcohol finally disagreeing with my stomach.
Anora?
I need space, I say, jumping off the counter and walking away before tears can spill. How could I be so foolish?
Anora, wait. What's wrong?
Just leave, Darian. I can't tell him why I feel utterly sickened by myself. My emotions are too raw to fabricate a lie. Please, I manage to choke out.
I'm not leaving until you tell me what just happened. Did I hurt you?
I can hear the fear in his voice. He's worried he may have crossed a line, but he hadn't. I did this. You didn't do anything wrong, okay? I say, meeting his gaze. He studies my face longer than I wish to hold his stare. I look away just as my lips tremble. My feelings aren't worth discussing. They won't change anything. His fingers gently brush my face in a gesture meant to soothe me, but it only brings me back to the moment as our eyes lock.
You're shaking.
He notes, a clear observation that makes me bite my lower lip to focus on something else, but it's a fleeting effort as he begins to glide his thumb gently across my cheek.
You're crying. Please tell me why.
I shake my head and step back from his touch. It's for the best, I remind myself. I wish it were that simple that someone could just ask why, but at this moment, I fear my troubles past is too complex for that.
Fine, I'll go.
He says, releasing a heavy breath.
Look, I know we just met, and maybe things got a bit out of hand. I really hope you'll trust me in time, and tell me what happened today.
I count to 10, wishing enough time has passed for Darian to be gone from my apartment. Darian! I gasp when I open my eyes. His finger gently rests on my lips, silencing me, while his intense eyes search mine as he softly says,
You'll come to see that I am very patient.
He leans in, kisses my forehead, and then turns to leave. When I hear the door close, I collapse on my knees. Stupid! How could you be so stupid? I mutter, clenching my fist. You set rules. You need to follow them. My tears are the least of my concerns, as my mind races with the reasons for my breakdown. The warning signs had been clear, yet I ignored them until it was too late. At first, his kisses filled me with hope, but they soon became overwhelming. I thought I was just out of practice and needed to ease into it. But his touch took a turn, becoming different, almost aggressive, especially when he unclipped my bra. It felt so distinctly off from everything I'd previously experienced that I spiraled into panic. I once thought maybe Darian could revive my spirit, but tonight shattered that hope. It's frustrating because he seems sincere in his intentions, but leading him on would be wrong when there's no chance of us being intimate. The next time we see each other, I'll have to uphold my resolution to avoid distractions. Classes begin in less than 48 hours, and that's all I should be concentrating on. I came here for art. Everything else can fade away. Chapter 4. It's Monday, which is a relief after the weekend I had. I maneuvered down the stairs and tiptoed through the halls like a thief in the shadows to avoid running into Darian. As if my social life isn't enough to cause a migraine, I got a message from the registrar's office informing me of a schedule change I didn't submit for. When I talked to them this morning, they only told me it was done by the head of the art department, so in plain English, I'm stuck with it. With the new schedule, I have art studio on Mondays and Wednesdays from noon to 3 p.m., and then on Fridays from 1 to 3 p.m. Tuesdays and Thursdays are now filled with core classes and art history starting from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. I'm not looking forward to those days. The art building, conveniently a 15-minute walk from my apartment, is beyond what I expected. I imagined it to be a bastion of architectural ingenuity, but I never imagined it to also be filled with ancient artifacts, normally reserved for history museums. Opulent would be the best word to describe my first impression walking through the muscle-straining glass doors. I'm not just looking at art. I'm in it. My decision to arrive early is a ruse, because I'm not heading immediately to class. The floors pop with elegant streaks of gold, carefully mixed with an oatmeal cream base that outshines the eggshell white walls. My awe continues upward, following the twisted, angular structure hanging in the middle of where the first level stops and second level begins. I'm almost positive it's glass, but I wonder how such a delicate material can be manipulated in so many ways and remain intact. Occupying the middle of the floor in the main corridor are the artworks of current and previous art students. Vintage-looking photos, abstract paintings, charcoal drawings, ceramics, and even metalwork. Every piece told its own story, claiming my attention for minutes at a time. I wanted to browse longer, but with only 20 minutes to spare, I thought it best to use the extra time for just in case I get lost. The door is closed but opens as I pull down the handle. Hello? My voice carries along the room after walking farther inside, but receives no reply. Familiarity awakens my senses as my stretched fingers graze over the unused drawing pads, waiting to be taken on an adventure with particles of graphite, charcoal, or pastel. I feel the excitement spread from the curve of my lips and down to the tips of my fingers as I think about everything I'm going to create. The lingering fumes of recently used oil paint and liquid mediums would make most everyone wrinkle their noses. But I inhale it in, closing my eyes while trying to capture the pleasant feeling, if only for a few seconds. Thick, black folders, similar to portfolios in size, are stacked neatly next to a brown leather bag on the professor's unattended desk. I flash a glance at the classroom door before picking one up.
What are you doing?
The folder slips from my fingers, knocking other items to the floor along with it.
How did you get in here?
His sharp baritone voice echoed with authority through the room, making him sound louder than he projected. The door, it was unlocked. I fumble the items, placing them randomly on the desk. With lowered eyes, I readjust the strap over my shoulder, saying a barely audible, "Sorry."
This is a private class. You are not allowed to wander into classes.
His words faded into thin air as our exchange put me in a state of recognition the longer I looked at him. Is he? No, he can't be. But he totally looks like... It's you, Scratching my head, I try to make sense of what I'm saying.
Miss,
he says with a sigh. My expression presses with the annoyance in his tone and the way his eyes lazily shift when he resumes walking.
You are clearly confused.
I'm not, I say knowingly. He peers back at me, neither offended nor amused, before tossing something that sounded a lot like wood on the floor. Holding the door ajar, he uses his right foot to push the wood thing underneath the door until taunt.
A class is about to start, so if you don't mind exiting the way you entered.
What makes you think I'm not where I'm supposed to be? The words rush out before I can stop myself. My desire to no longer allow him to belittle me fired my annoyed tongue. This is Professor Tompkinson's class, is it not? I know without question my location is accurate. I just want to hear him acknowledge it. There's too long of a pause as his chest rises and falls in slow intervals.
It is.
He finally says, making his way in the direction I'm still occupying. His expression becomes more stoic as he passes, making him appear less know-it-all than before. At best, he looks 22, probably a senior, thinking he can talk down to a freshman. Whatever the case, I don't take kindly to peers trying to boss me around, especially one wearing all black hooded sweatpants set and white sneakers. Besides our year status, he has no upper authority over me. Quietly, he lays a laptop, a set of keys, and a phone on top of the professor's desk. I know this because I'm watching his every move. I'm not intentionally spying. I just can't bring myself to look away.
Do you need something, or are you going to stand there staring at me?
I'm not staring, I counter, stance shifting when he looks at me pointedly. Do you know if the seats are assigned? I ask respectfully. But he, whose name is still undetermined, doesn't notice as his eyes are now fixed on rearranging the items in front of him.
You can sit anywhere for now.
I nod, sitting next to an easel in the middle of the second row. Releasing a much-needed breath, my body relaxes in the stool, only to tense when I notice him looking at me. When his eyes shift, I force mine to do the same, trying to look uninterested when you are 1000% interested in seeing what someone is doing is like being trapped in a white room surrounded by an unlimited supply of colorful paint that you are prohibited from touching. So, well, I hope I'm discreetly watching him place blank canvases on the easels that didn't have any. I bite my tongue to stop myself from asking if he needs help, because that would mean doing his work for free. This is obviously his on-campus job. Maybe I should ask him. No, I can search for jobs on the college website. It shouldn't be hard. For the most part, he ignores me. But my attention remains, even after he returns to the professor's desk. I hate to admit it, but he's easy on the eyes. He's probably 6 feet tall, right about the same height as Darian, if not an inch taller. He doesn't appear to be the six-pack muscular type, but he most likely takes care of his body. His skin is the shade of a raw hazelnut. I am considered to be in line with roasted coffee beans, and is clear of blemishes. But his hair, darker than the unexplored depths of the Atlantic Ocean, looks highly maintained and probably better than mine. Wait, what? I shake my head. Still, my sight returns. His long, silky strands are combed with precision and appear to be stiff, even though my mind keeps telling me it's probably softer than mine.
Your staring is becoming discomforting,
He says, eyes flicking upward from his laptop.
Is there nothing more interesting?
He sounds annoyed, and his brows are drawn together in a brooding kind of way. I wasn't staring. Being caught isn't my proudest moment, but admitting to such an embarrassment, God himself would have to decree such a thing. With nothing left to say, I focus on my phone. As other students start to trickle in, my on and off eye exchanges wither, allowing me to focus on taking proper breaths and relaxing my tense limbs.
Hey you! What are you doing here? I don't remember you mentioning having this class.
Ronnie sits at the workstation to my right, letting her bag slide off her left shoulder to the floor. I sigh. My schedule was changed.
Really?
She beams.
Did you just get in?
Maybe like 10 minutes ago. I shrug.
Trying to get on the professor's favorite student list?
I laugh. There's no such thing. Besides, I spin in my stool to face her. The golden rule is you're late if you're on time.
That's such a freshman thing to say.
She teases, causing us both to laugh.
Anyway,
She starts again, but with a mischievous glint in her eyes.
did you introduce yourself to Mr. Hottie yet?
Who? Confusion rises with every head turn. Nodding toward the front of class, she says,
The professor.
Following her line of sight, I shift in my seat. Oh, don't mind him. He's the help.
But he's sitting behind the desk.
My shoulders rise and fall with the laziness of my eyes.
Once everyone settles into a seat, we will get started,
Says the familiar voice I had little pleasure of hearing earlier over the chatty room. Silence fills the room within seconds of his command, but I continue scrolling through my phone, paying him no attention whatsoever.
My name is Arthur, but you may call me.
Too blind to consider the most obvious possibility, I raise my hand.
Yes.
Arthur, the professor's help, says as he peers back down at the stapled papers in his hands. I'm sorry, but shouldn't we wait for the professor?
Name?
Anora? Thomas? He scans the paper in hand, repeating my last name out loud.
Anora.
His eyes lift to meet mine.
Your initial spells A.R.T.
It wasn't a question, but I answer it all the same. Yes, my full name is Anora Ray Thomas, A.R.T, Art, but not to be confused with the faceless painter if anyone was wondering. The latter sounded ridiculous coming out of my mouth, because why would a famous artist take a college art class?
Highly unlikely, Miss Thomas,
he says in monotone.
And your professor stands before you. You may address me as Professor Tompkinson or Mr. Tompkinson.
Professor? You look no older than 22. A chuckle escapes, but I am sadly alone in humor.
25,
he corrects, clamping his hands behind his back in a noble stance. Same difference, I mumble to myself. It still doesn't explain. Look at how you're dressed.
Anora.
Ronnie hisses, and I mouth, What? Every eye in the room is on me. A few looked amused, some shocked, some angry. The latter group's glares alone make me feel like I'm the worst student in the world. I don't want to look his way, but I do. The professor's jaw is clenched, tight, and it flexes with each careful step in my direction. Clearing his throat before halting in front of me, he says,
It's quite simple, Miss Thomas, but I have no need or desire to educate you on the matter.
His perpetual stare is ignored with the rotation of my eyes as I combat his lack of desire and need. Well, I have never heard of you or your artwork. You would have thought I had shot the man by all the nervous giggles, wide eyes, and trail of gasps filling the room. Even I, saying such a thing, bit down on my tongue and cursed myself for being so openly rude. I honestly don't know what's come over me. Can I blame it on the alcohol I consumed over the weekend? Because there is no other logical reason why I'm acting so out of character.
Ms. Thomas.
He inhales audibly, stepping even closer to my workstation.
Your ignorance of basic art knowledge will only be addressed once. Not every professor releases their work to the world, nor does every active artist uses their real name. And from your
His gaze rakes me.
particular fashion, your hometown couldn't afford to house my cheapest piece.
My fashion? I'm wearing light blue jean overalls with a solid blue shirt underneath and an old pair of black sneakers. It's the perfect attire to wear, as I was unsure what kind of medium we would be using in class today. I didn't want to risk staining a good outfit. Besides, what's wrong with my fashion? The snickering from the other students got louder, and I was 2 seconds from telling them to shut up. But my source of oxygen drops to 50% when he envelops the rest of the space between us. Looming over me, he leans slightly forward.
I suggest you do more listening and less worrying if I'm qualified to teach this class. Are we clear?
His tone is tainted in malice, but nowhere near as daunting as his cold stare. Fighting the urge to retaliate, I tilt my head upward, eyes prying solely into his with a tight lip smile as I utter, Crystal.
Good.
He nods, straightening upright.
Does anyone else have a problem with me teaching this class?
The class is dead silent, and I bite down on my tongue even harder to keep from saying something just out of spite.
Please raise your hand when I call your name.
Less than a minute later, he finishes the attendance call, getting a response from the 11 other students as he took a turn around the class. My sharp eyes followed him closely, noticing how he maintains a perfect posture at all times. Annoying. I also noticed he will only hold direct eye contact for 1 to 2 seconds at one given moment, even though I recall us exchanging stares for a lot longer. Annoying. He has only 2 expressions from what I've observed thus far. Inward brows and pressed lips when he's deeply thinking, or just plain expressionless, like he is now. Arms crossed, leaning against his desk, and staring out the window as the entire class waits patiently for him to instruct us on what to do next. Annoying. My fingers drum on my crossed leg as I gaze sullenly into the exposed classroom ceiling, yawning tiresomely. Even though I'm not sleepy, the feeling is present.
Okay.
He finally speaks, Taking an extensive, deep inhale, Professor... no matter how I say it, it sounds wrong. He pushes off the desk to stand like a soldier at attention.
Your first assignment will be to create a piece of your liking. I want to get to know each of you as an individual artist. I looked at all your portfolios and handpicked some of you to be in this advanced art class, so I know what you're capable of in sense of textbook form.
He uses finger air quotes to emphasize textbook.
But now I want to see what you can do when there are no rules involved.
He continues. This sounds interesting.
So,
he starts moving around the class as my hand stretches toward the ceiling. Question. The professor sighs, emotionless expression unhidden as he rests his arms across his chest when he faces me.
Yes, Miss Thomas.
What about the size, and can I use drawing paper instead of canvas? Time lapses, and I'm convinced he didn't hear me as he stares blankly in my direction.
Like I was saying, Miss Thomas, the piece is of your liking. What materials, mediums you use is up to you, but regarding to size, no smaller than 18 by 24.
His slightly arched brows increase with the slight nod of his head before turning on his heel.
But remember, this art piece should show me who you are as an individual artist, so keep that in mind.
His pacing stops once he reaches his desk, facing the front of the class.
I'm giving you the rest of the class today. Our next meetup is on Wednesday, so you have all day tomorrow as well. Any questions?
Everyone simultaneously looks at me, even the professor, making me feel oddly annoyed as I shake my head.
Time starts now.
This is odd for the first day of class,
Ronnie whispers, pulling out what looks like an iPad from her bag. A little, I say in agreement. But it's also exciting. My high school art teachers never gave us this much freedom. Yours? Ronnie shakes her head as she works the stylus pen in her hand. My attention then shifts to the outdoors, instantly drawn to the naked blue sky and forest green branches in the distance. I wonder if it will be possible to leave class to roam the college grounds for inspiration. At that moment, I noticed Professor Tompkinson packing his laptop into his leather bag, which he slings over his head before grabbing his keys and phone. Where is he going? Eyes on his phone, he fails to see my raised hand. Professor Tompkinson, are you leaving? He halts. Turning to face the class, but looking straight at me, he says,
Is there a problem, Miss Thomas?
No, I say with the shaking of my head. But,
Then I suggest you focus more on what you're going to do for your assignment and worry less about where I'm going.
He says coolly before turning around and leaving. I glared at the back of his head. Annoying.
Wow, he's a grumpy one,
Chuckles Ronnie. Tell me about it, I huff, slinging my own bag over one shoulder.
And where, may I ask, are you going?
We have until noon on Wednesday to complete this assignment. I'm out, I wink, raising 2 fingers as I take my leave. My eyes are glued to my phone when I take a sharp turn. Geez, watch. My furrowed eyes meet a pair of stern ones as the bystander shifts sideways. Professor? Oh, I'm... In a slight panic, I recognize the older gentleman next to him. Of all people.
Dr. Carlton, art director.
The older gentleman says, stretching out a hand. His pleasant smile smoothed out some of the wrinkles along his cheekbones, but deepened the creases along his outer eyes. Despite feeling mortified, I politely shook his hand. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
It's those darn devices. They get the best of us.
He chuckles, while Mr. Grumpy looks broodier than ever. How is that even possible?
Leaving class already?
The Grinch speaks. If I hadn't been standing right near the art director, an exaggerated eye roll would have gladly made herself known, but I remain poised.
Glad to see you're taking your first assignment seriously.
He continues. From the crossing of my arms to the tilting of my head sideways, one would agree my body understood the assignment. Annoyance. I prefer getting inspiration from being out in the environment. You left, so I assumed I could too. Was I mistaken? I count our exchange. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
No, it's fine.
He says flatly, his eyes taking the long route to reach its new destination. Despite his simple response, his standoffish demeanor, highly unnecessary, is less of a shock than him holding my gaze for more than 3 seconds. Once again, I don't know what to make of it, and maybe I'm being overly sensitive as usual, but he just gets under my skin. Even now, his composure stirs me to the core. Good, I say, adjusting my bag strap over my shoulder, telling myself not to say anything outside of bidding the 2 gentlemen a good day.
Anora. Ray? Thomas? Did I get it right?
Oh God, he knows my full name. Yes. A hurdle of nerves consumes my stilled limbs, and I feel my palms sweat in anticipation of what will follow.
I've heard many things about you,
says the art director with a closed-lipped smile. My fear quadrupled, and I clasp my hands together. You have? I swallow, glancing between the professor, whose attention seems to be elsewhere, and the one who just spoke. Oh gosh, what was his name? Dr. Carl? No, that's not right. I hope you interpret those many things with a grain of salt, clearing my throat as I shift my attention to he who will forever be my nemesis if he said anything ill about me.
Oh, don't be modest. I've seen your work firsthand, and thanks to the professor, I considered you to be chosen for his class. Sorry about the last-minute schedule change. I hope it didn't cause you any distress.
No, not at all, I murmur, my words trailing off like a dead man's thoughts. I'm one of the some he had handpicked.
Well, I'm sure you have much better things to do. We will have plenty of time to talk tomorrow,
the art director says, springing me back to the present. Yes, tomorrow, right, 3 o'clock sharp. I will be there, I say too cheerfully for my own ears. And I'll see you on Wednesday. I then voice to the professor a little too casually.
Yes, Miss Thomas, you will see me in class on Wednesday,
he replies, emphasizing the words in class. I frown. Where else would I see him? I release a sigh as my sensible side urges me to be mature. I mean, the guy did pick me to be in his advanced art class. Sorry to interrupt, but may I speak with you for a moment, Professor? He just stands there, so I pivot, taking a few steps back. His audible sigh isn't hard to miss, nor is his flat tone as he says,
"Excuse me,"
to the art director. Why I'm nervous is beyond me, but I don't dwell on it. I have bigger nerves to fry.
"What can I do for you, Miss Thomas?"
Unable to resist, I watch him tuck his hands into his pockets before fixing his gaze on me, his expression brooding again, and he arches a brow as I just stare at him. Ugh, just get it over with. Sorry, about my behavior today in class. I'm usually not so... No respectable word comes to mind as my brows draw farther in with every unacceptable thought.
"Candid?"
the professor says. I was going to say forthright, I respond, lightly chuckling. But, yes, candid is fitting. I see the professor's lips twitch, and if I wasn't staring at him so earnestly, I would have missed it.
"No worries. You can always aim to be less candid or forthright on Wednesday,"
he says, earning a wide smile and 2 thumbs up from me in reply. Until Wednesday, then, I say, my spirit finally lifting.
"Good day, Miss Thomas."
Good day, Professor Tompkinson. Good day, Director, I say in passing.
I can't believe you walked right into him.
Ronnie laughs. We were back at my apartment eating chicken and beef fried rice for dinner. If Mom could see me now.
So, what did he say? Was he angry?
It was hard to tell, I say, my mouth full. But I swear, the guy always looks angry.
True.
She laughs again.
So, where did you end up going?
After I left class? Ronnie nods as she takes a huge bite out of a spring roll. I just walked down Stuyvesant Street and a few blocks up 3rd Avenue. I wanted to go farther, but didn't want to get lost.
You should hook up with Darian.
Darian, why? I'm trying to avoid Darian. Hooking up is not part of the plan.
He's a photographer?
She says in a dull-like tone.
He can probably show you some cool places for inspiration.
She continues. Oh, right, I laugh. Ronnie looks at me with a closed lip smile, mischief swimming in those dauby brown orbs.
So?
She sat back in her chair, still looking at me mischievously.
What do you think of my cousin?
Who? Darian? I don't know why I said that, because Darian is the only person I met in her family. But Ronnie still answers with a nod. He's cool. Her brow arches.
Just cool?
I hum, chewing my fried rice extra slowly. Her eyes shift skeptically.
So, you don't want to sleep with him?
I could have died because the moment she said, sleep with him, a few grains of rice traveled unexpectedly down my throat, instantly activating my gag reflex.
Need some water with that lie?
She asks flatly. I wheezed, coughing and clearing my throat. Not to be as blunt as you are, Ronnie, but yes, I'm attracted to your cousin. But I had to quickly state a but because she sat up with too much excitement. I told him I can't have any distractions.
So,
She stretches out the word.
did you say that before or after you tried to jump his bones?
What? Ronnie snickers as I once again almost have a heart attack. Did he tell you that? She shrugs.
Not exactly, but my cousin is a horrible liar.
I groan, wrapping my arms around myself and wishing I could disappear. I can't believe this, I say, shaking my head. I'll never be able to show my face around your friends again. Ronnie shed a laugh.
I've known people who've done worse on their first meeting, so don't worry. I'm the only one who knows.
My shoulders rise and fall in relief, but it's still a little embarrassing. We kissed, I confess, picking up my fork. Ronnie gives me a knowing look, as if she can read between the lines, prompting me to elaborate. All right, fine, it was a bit more than that. Hands roaming, tongues exploring, and shirts tugging, but I jab my fork at her direction for emphasis. We did not have sex, I clarify, my tone as clear as distilled water.
Boo!
She sang, both thumbs pointing down.
You guys are such virgins.
What? I'm not a virgin. Her brows arch, making me laugh as I defend my statement. I'm serious. I've had sex, I say, as a matter of fact, but wanted to take it back after seeing her eyes widen with interest. Not in a slutty way, I quickly add, stabbing my fork into a piece of chicken. I didn't move to eat it, though.
What? I didn't say anything.
You don't have to. Your face says it all. Defending myself seems pointless, but I continue nonetheless. I'm not a fluid girl.
Uh-huh.
A smirk grazes her lips.
Regardless, he likes you, so be careful.
Be careful? That's an odd thing to say without elaborating.
Oh, nothing like that. He's physically harmless.
She laughs, noticing my discomfort.
It's just...
She pauses, tilting her head sideways as if in thought.
Darian is a hopeless romantic. Believes in love at first sight, and blah blah blah.
She says, leaning back. And you don't?
Girl, no. Romance and lovey-dovey stuff is for fairy tales and Jane Austen novels. Don't get me wrong, it's nice. But do you really believe in love at first sight? That after one glance, you know that that's your person?
Well, when you say it like that.
Exactly.
She emphasizes.
It's plain nonsense. My partner is going to have to prove himself over numerous outings, deep conversations, and several sexual endeavors before I can even think about the word soulmate.
She does have a point, but I want to believe that a strong connection can beat all odds. It doesn't necessarily have to be at the first meeting or the second or the third. I want to believe when the time is right, I will just know. Chapter 5. Tuesday's classes were rather uneventful. The professors simply introduced themselves, handed out syllabi, and sent us on our way. I assume the real work kicks off Thursday, and I can't say I'm looking forward to it. On a different note, my meeting with Dr. Carlton, the head of the art department, was pleasant. He asked if I had any questions or concerns, but I didn't, even though I almost wanted to vent about a certain someone. However, since he complimented my work, I decided to keep our first mishap to myself. During dinner, conversation with my mom shifted to me ranting about my professors. I must have gone overboard regarding Professor Tompkinson because my mom absurdly assumed I had a crush on him. Seriously? What could I have said to give her such an impression? Sure, he's cute, like an adorable puppy standing on its hind legs wagging its tail. Pleasing from afar, but probably a little aggressive up close if you're not careful. But he's my professor. And even if he weren't, what am I even thinking? No. With leftovers put away and dishes drying, I wrap myself in a blanket on the couch and go for the remote on the coffee table. Instead, I notice my open drawing pad. My attempt to start the art assignment earlier resulted in a trash can full of failed sketches and 2 ruined canvases. I groan at seeing them leaning by the trash can, a reminder of how early I need to get up tomorrow to create something for my assignment. I should be unwinding, but all I want is to binge watch One Tree Hill until I drift off. Just as the theme song begins, there's a knock at my door. Oh, hey Darian, I say, stifling a yawn.
Were you asleep? Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Waving my hands, I say, no, I wasn't sleeping, but it seems like you should be. I take in his disheveled clothes, heavy-lidded eyes, and the unmistakable scent surrounding him, scrunching my nose in distaste. You smell like you've been bathing in marijuana. His eyes widen slightly as he raises an arm to check his smell.
I do.
He chuckles.
I was just chilling with the guys. We had a few drinks.
He shrugs. Just a few drinks? I ask, scrutinizing his appearance. He laughs.
All right, maybe a little more than a few, but it's nothing I can't handle.
He reassures me. I'm sure, I say, not entirely convinced. We share awkward smiles as he stands with his hands tucked in his pockets. A valid response since we haven't spoken since his last visit. My heart races in the silence. Do you want to come in? I step back to open the door wider.
You think that's a good idea?
He questions with a raised eyebrow, to which I respond with a puzzled expression.
I don't want you to attack me again,
he says, smirking. I didn't attack you, I scoff, lightly slapping his upper chest with the back of my hand.
See?
He points at me, and we both chuckle. Just come in, silly. He steps inside. So, I say as I settle onto the couch, what brings you by so late? Avoiding my gaze, he rubs the back of his neck.
Ronnie sent me. She mentioned you needed some inspiration for an art assignment.
Oh, sort of. She suggested I talk to you since you're into photography. You might know some artsy spots I can check out, I admit, uncertain about what kind of inspiration I actually need.
Sure, I know a few.
He nods.
Do you have a subject in mind?
I shake my head. Darian stares at me.
Okay, well, there's a place I go for inspiration, not too far from here with a sick view, especially at night. When's your assignment due?
I clear my throat and say, tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
I know. I'm cutting it a bit close.
You think?
This time I'm the one staring, but he just laughs and pulls out his phone.
I can take you there now if you're up for it.
Now? As in right this moment?
Yes?
He chuckles.
As in right now.
I'm not sure, Darian. I'm already in my pajamas.
It's only a 10-minute walk. Just give me an hour. I promise to have you back by 9. Come on, say yes. You know you want to.
He encourages with a playful smile.
Just think about all the inspiration you'll gain. You might even finish your assignment before bed.
Not likely, I mumble, debating whether to decline. Still, he's right. I'm too curious to resist. So I find myself saying, okay. The night air begins to chill more quickly than I expected, making me wish I had opted for long sleeves. Nonetheless, the coolness and the deserted streets are small price to pay for exploring the outskirts of the city. If I had known we were going hiking, I would have said no, I remark, leaning over to catch my breath before resuming our brisk walk.
Come on, it's not that bad.
Darian reassures me, pausing patiently.
We're almost there. It's just up the hill.
He gestures ahead. As we crest the grassy hill, a large iron gate comes into view. What is this place? I ask as Darian slips through a narrow opening. Is this even allowed? I whisper, scanning the surroundings with caution.
I'm not sure.
He admits. I let out a firm and slightly annoyed, Darian.
Don't worry, Anora. I've been here plenty of times. We'll be fine.
And that's exactly what people say right before everything goes wrong, I counter.
True.
He chuckles, not reassuring.
But seriously, everything will be all right.
Groaning, I take his hand. If I get arrested, I'll claim I was forced into this. He laughs again.
Relax. This area is practically a ghost town. The city doesn't care enough to clean it up, so artsy types like us use it as our canvas.
His hand remains in mine, and I allow it. After all, he's leading the way. As we enter, the strong odor of decaying garbage overwhelms my senses, turning what was once breathable air into something nearly suffocating. The open space is filled with weathered machinery and long assembly lines, reminiscent of a factory. Mud, rodents infested with maggots, unpackaged food, and rusted machine parts scatter across the area, contributing to the revolting stench, forcing me to take short, gagging inhales and long, shaking exhales. I'll need fresh air soon to stay conscious. The building appears mostly intact, which makes me wonder why it hasn't been repurposed. Instead, it lies abandoned, yielding to nature's reclamation in some areas. Graffiti covers much of the high walls and the smooth surfaces of the large machinery. On the lower walls, murals of children playing and cityscapes paint a vibrant picture. It's street art at its finest. Wow, this is incredible.
You haven't seen nothing yet.
Darian's grin widens as his grip tightens before leading me up 3 flights of iron stairs. Wow, this is Darian. The rooftop view puts downtown Manhattan and Washington Square Park in a whole new light. The air even tastes sweeter up here. I always thought places like this only existed in movies. How did you find this place? I ask, trying to absorb the expanse of lights, stretching as far as I can see and the busy life within them.
About 2 months ago,
He says, leaning against the iron railing.
I was looking for a spot to take some bird's eye shots when I stumbled upon it. It was daytime, the first time I checked it out. But when I came back the next day at night, the view was
Breathtaking. I finish for him, completely in awe. The city lights illuminate the sidewalks and skyscrapers like decorations, and the headlights of passing cars create a ribbon-like dance in the darkness. I'm so captivated that I forget Darian is there until he speaks up again.
Yes. Breathtaking.
I swallow hard as a creeping sensation of being watched intensifies with every breath. The silence prickles the hairs on my arms, rising unease lurking in the quiet. Darian.
I know, Anora.
With a heavy sigh, he sits down on a broken cinder block.
You don't want any distractions.
His eyes meet mine briefly before they return to the distance. I take a seat as well, maintaining a respectable distance. So, did you grow up in New York? He smiles.
Brooklyn.
His New York accent is more pronounced now.
And you? What state you come from?
North Carolina, I respond.
North Carolina?
He laughs.
I bet this place was a culture shock.
Just a little, I admit, letting out a laugh of my own. But I love it.
Really?
He raises an eyebrow. Yeah, the lights, noise, the people. Everything here is so vibrant and full of life. It's nothing like my hometown. Darian nods, gazing into the distance. What about you? I ask, redirecting his attention. Have you traveled outside of New York?
Nah, not really. I visited some cities in the state, but never left it.
Did you not want to go to a college somewhere else? He shakes his head.
Nah. NYU has always been my dream school. It was my first and only choice.
No alternatives? Isn't that a lot of pressure?
Yes, but I enjoy a challenge.
A knowing smile spreads across his face.
I'm very ambitious.
I roll my eyes, suppressing a smirk. So I've heard. He lets out a soft chuckle.
I'm serious. When I set my mind to something, I don't let anything deter me.
His heavy-lidded gaze lingers on me for a beat too long, prompting me to shy away. Well, I also got accepted to the University of North Carolina, but NYU was my top choice, I admit, focusing on the view ahead instead of him.
Anora?
The way he whispers my name makes me swallow hard, feeling the weight of his gaze. If I weren't so apprehensive, I might see if my instincts are correct. But before I can make any decision, he gently turns my head so I'm looking only at him.
I know I said.
Darian, don't. In one swift motion, I stand and create space between us.
Anora, wait. Before you turn me down. Again. Just hear me out, okay?
The desperation in his voice and intensity in his eyes compel me. I know I shouldn't listen to him, but I gesture for him to continue. He takes a breath, displaying a strained smile before speaking.
Aside from advanced geometry, I'm only taking my major classes, which means my studio hours will be around 30 to 40 a week.
Meaning?
Meaning,
He repeats, stepping closer.
I wouldn't be a distraction.
There is so much hope in his eyes that I almost relent. But if what he says is true, we might not see each other at all during the school week. If that's the case, why pursue me at all? I counter.
Why pursue you? Is that supposed to be a trick question?
Humor sparkles in his eyes as a smile stretches across his lips.
You seriously don't know your worth?
He asks, his tone a mix of disbelief and amusement. I shrug, looking down, unable to hold his assertive gaze. I'm just another girl.
Just another girl.
He scoffs. In just a few steps, Darian closes the distance between us, placing his hand gently on the side of my face to hold my gaze.
The fact that you think that, it's just another reason I want to fall in love with you.
Love? I shake my head in disbelief. Darian, you must be drunk to say that.
Maybe, but I'm foolishly honest when I'm drunk.
I look up at him, but I wish I hadn't. His determined gaze draws me in, making it hard to think. I'm not fun, I blurt out. And I hate the taste of alcohol, the smell of any kind of smoking things. My words streamed out, my heart racing as I rambled.
Okay.
Darian laughs.
Anything else?
I sigh, struggling to find the right words. Darian, there are many things. Things I can't...
Then we'll take it slow. I'm not asking you to marry me,
he says, laughter bubbling from him. I shake my head, feeling the weight of unspoken thoughts pressing on my chest. Darian, look. I start, adopting a stern tone that immediately alters his demeanor. His playful expression dims. There are things about me... I close my eyes, releasing a shaky breath. There are things I may never be able to change or do with you. I watch as his eyes roam, trying to decipher the meaning behind my words.
What? Like sex?
He chuckles, clearly misunderstanding the gravity of my concerns.
Is that what you're worried about?
Well, it's more than... He laughs harder, and I'm momentarily taken aback by his reaction.
Shawty, you had me worried for a moment. We can work up to that. Besides, there are other ways I can please you.
His eyes grow heavy as he licks his lips, pulling me closer.
You can please me. Say yes. I know you want to,
he whispers. The warmth of his breath, heavily tinged with the remnants of alcohol, sends warning signals down my spine, and I hold my breath to counteract the smell.
Trying to argue against this only pushes me to find ways to prove it can work.
His unwavering gaze pulls me in like a powerful wave, overwhelming me as he inches closer.
Say yes. I know you want to,
he urges again, his lips grazing the sensitive skin on my neck before stealing a kiss and another just above my collarbone. You don't know what I want, I assert, summoning my own determination as I meet his gaze when he looks back at me. His resolute expression softens as his free hand glides up and down my back. I swallow hard, closing my eyes to take a shaky breath and reopening them as I exhale. Relax. Relax.
Give me a chance, Anora.
I inspect his face, trying to decipher the sincerity in his voice, but I feel like a fish out of water, unable to thrive in the moment while also battling feelings of discomfort. My silence speaks volumes, but Darian chooses this moment to heighten my awareness. I sense every hair rising as his touch travels from my jaw to my neck. I take a hard swallow and bite my bottom lip.
God, you have no idea what you're doing to me,
he states firmly. I manage to respond. I'm not doing anything. My ability to ignore all the sensible warnings is becoming a liability, leading me into situations I could have easily avoided. While Darian professes to be a gentleman, he has no clue that kissing, touching, and anything leading to a pleasure triggers feelings I wish didn't exist, suffocating me in tight spaces where I can hardly breathe. I clench and unclench my hands, seeking relief that eludes me. The longer I'm locked in my thoughts, the harder it becomes to distinguish what is real. I won't deny that I long to feel something, even momentarily, but this offers no escape, pulling me into an endless darkness that lurks beyond the facade of harmless clouds. This obsession with physical connection is the very distraction I'm trying to avoid. Not having a boyfriend is the only shield against the impending chaos. Darian, his lips graze my neck, his hands moving to places that shouldn't be touched in public as I force myself to picture being anywhere but here.
Say yes,
he urges. I shake my head, unable to gather my thoughts enough to voice the simple word. This only earns another frustrated grunt from him as his mouth finds mine again, lifting me off the ground with an aggressive hold. I want to want this, but I don't. I crave some emotion beyond disgust, but I just can't. He presses my back against the wall.
Say you want me.
My eyes shut as the trembling begins. Caught in this internal struggle, I don't notice his movements slowing, his breathing quieting, or my feet returning to solid ground until a chill sweeps over me.
Anora, I'm sorry.
I open my eyes to see his back turned as he gazes out at the flashing lights. I try to speak, but no words come.
It's getting late. We should head back.
I nod quietly and follow him as he walks ahead. Why? After everything that just happened, why would I want to reassure him that it was okay? It isn't okay. And even though I keep telling myself I am, I'm not okay.
You have listened to the prologue and chapters 1 through 5 from Charity Ta'ala's debut novel, A.R.T. Copyright 2025. All rights reserved. Audiobook created by Caridad Inc. as Charity Tala. Copyright 2026. All rights reserved. Audio music produced by Caridad Inc. as Charity Tala. Copyright 2026. All rights reserved. Be sure to subscribe and share your thoughts in the comments section, and click the notification bell so that you are notified when the next chapters are posted. Thank you for listening.